Arnold was a pretty decent guy.
Arnold's
Arnold
awesome.
lived on a house that sat on the edge of a cliff.
You should seen it, man. I was in it.
When I went down, when Don and I
Did
went
look like it was
down,
gonna fall.
when Don and I went down to bury your great grandfather, okay, they lived under the cliff. And we drove in as far as we could drive and then walked on down. It was rainy and mucky. And
So, why did Orville decide to come up to Mansfield?
well, I think basically when he went to the Navy, well, he came to Mansfield before he went to the Navy and got hired at the tire. And he got drafted out of the tire. And I think it was basically the idea that there was no work there. There wasn't anything to do. And thank God he did get out of there, because had he not gotten out of there, we'd all be running barefoot in the hills right now.
Because after the Depression, I mean, the coal mines are no longer labor intensive
That's
after
right.
the Great Depression.
That's right. And see, your great grandfather, my grandfather, Dad's father, had black lung. So your grandmother received a pension for black lung till the day of her death, which amounted to about $70 a month.
Can't believe I'm gonna have family history recorded with Family Guy in the
But
background.
he was actually a coal miner, and then once he got out of the coal mines because of the black lung problem, they became hillside farmers, and they were tenement farmers. Okay, they basically went in and farmed the land in order to live there, and shared the greater majority of the crop with the owner. Okay, you follow me?
Yeah.
They shared the greater majority of the crop with the owner. And I can remember when
Thanks,
I was
Gary.
a kid going down to a place called Pricey and going out with them in the fields, and they literally hoed this hillside out. I'm talking about a hillside like this. And they would hold the corn out. And that's where early on, when Liz first came here, and we'd go out to the house out on Oak Street and try to garden, and she would be hoeing, and she'd hoe around the plant and get her ass up the hill, and Dad would say, Liz, you can't hoe with your ass up the hill. You can't hoe your ass up here, you're going to fall on your head. And the reason for it goes back to that hillside farming, when they actually farm places that you look at and you say, there ain't no way you could ever raise that thing on there. But they were plowed by mules.
Everything down there is steep.
Oh, whoopee, I
There's no
You have the door on here, Mike.
there's no plains of anything. I mean, there's no. You can't make any money off
No.
a crop. I mean, you're
No.
just gonna.
No, and basically those were survival crops.
Right.
You know, they were survival crops, pure and simple. Money was something that
You don't play that thing?
Make nice background if you play that.
money was something folks just didn't have a whole lot to deal with at that time. I mean, but hell, I can remember going down to Ox Wheelers and buying a pop for 5 cents.
I was completely blown away.
Now you
No,
saw
but-
Ox Wheelers place down there. You know where that is.
I don't know if I did or not.
Okay, I bet you it's still standing. But we ought to go down there. We ought to take a weekend and go down there together.
Yeah, we should.
Get you and Jeff. And
Well, that's
maybe-
all you got in that valley are Castles, Montgomerys,
Jenkins.
Jenkins. There isn't a whole lot else. You know, it's funny because I
Caudles.
spent
Caudles.
yeah tons of coddles. I spent so much time driving my Civic up and down the roads. People, I mean, phone calls were made as to
Who is
was
this guy?
driving the black Civic up and down these roads.
Oh yeah. Well, hell, when Don and I went down, when your dad and I went down to bury our
You
grandfather,
guys are rock stars.
oh, it was unreal. I pulled in there. I was driving a 1965 GTO convertible, 3-piece suit. Don had on a nice camel hair blazer, dark brown slacks,
I remember that blazer.
you know, that kind of thing. We drove in there, got out of the car. People are coming up. They're touching us. I mean, they're rubbing our clothes.
You know, and I got.
They're
mean,
rubbing the car.
Right.
They want to sit in the. Hey man, can I sit? Can I sit in there? I mean, man, wow! It blew me away. It was unreal.
Well, because you know, you go down in the Appalachian regions in Ohio, you know, and they'll tell you to get fucked before they give you any.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
they're not going to treat you like that.
Nope. I can remember going with Junior back up on Mine Fork to a shack back there. Him hooking up with a prostitute and buying a jug of moonshine while we're there, and
That's why he still had two
I'm about
legs.
9 or 10 years old. I'm just tagging along. I know what's going on. I'm naive as hell.
Now, what was his wife's name? Because she fed us. I mean, I
She's a
would.
nice lady.
Yeah.
I mean, Junior was all right. Don't get me wrong. Junior was an okay guy.
No, I don't.
He had that one arm that was all polio of some kind, or something caused it to shrivel up. But he was an all right guy. I mean, Herb was the one that was kind of a horse's ass. Dad's other brothers were Raymond, who had an accident in one of those big cooling towers.
Mm-hmm.
Fell, broke his back, was an invalid. They lived down in Portsmouth for a long time, right down along the Scioto River. And I can remember going down there in the summer and going over in the Scioto River with the boys, his boys, Carson and that bunch with their names. And these guys would go out and catch cottonmouths.
No kidding.
Yeah, because they're cottonmouths in the southern part of Ohio.
I almost got bit by a cottonmouth in Indiana.
Well, they'd go out and catch these things. These guys blew my mind. They didn't have enough sense not to.
What'd they do with them?
Hell, I don't know. They'd bring them out and take them by the tail and snap their heads
Whip 'em.
off.
Oh, so they caught animals for fun and.
Well,
killed them.
that's right. I mean, but that was the mentality of that. These were poisonous snakes.
No, I just didn't know if they ate it or anything. Or.
No, not that I'm aware of. I can't remember.
So you make a bell.
I can't remember Raymond's wife's name. Ida, I think it was. Ida. He had a pretty large family.
Sorry, Cam.
So I got a lot of family still living down in the Portsmouth area. I'm sure Carson and those guys are all still
Well,
down
I
there.
met a second cousin who lives in Waverly. When I worked for Rural Action, she worked for Rural Action. We were able to put together. Because I said I was related to Tackett's, and she was right there. I mean, she was.
Yeah, you're related
Same
to
cousin.
Fred Tackett, your uncle, lives down in there. That was Sarah. That was Dad's sister's husband. Sarah's dead. Fred's still alive. Fred's in his 80s. Now, Sue talked to Fred not too long ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now this parent. Okay. Now, if we were correct, you have a cousin. You have a first cousin in Waverly who would be, I think, the father of this person who I worked with.
You're probably right. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that because I can remember going down to visit family in Waverly, Ohio, Portsmouth. Now, of course, I was born on Beaver Creek in Portsmouth.
Right. Right.
And when I was about 13, 14 years old, Dad took me back to visit the shack that I was born in.
Mm-hmm.
It's still there at that time. Out in the woods, there was still a trunk in the place. And there was a peach tree growing, and the peach tree had grown into the house. And Dad talked about early on when I was first born, how he would pick peaches off of some of the trees in the area there. And he was a sharecropper at the time, lived on the farm that belonged to Bill Picklesheimer. And it was right on the Scioto River. And I can remember you went up a big long driveway to get up to this farm, and you could see the Scioto River from the house.
Right.
And we lived right on around the ridge in the woods. And Dad worked for this guy for $1 a day, and part of the share of the crop.
Right.
And that was back, that would have been, of course, in 41. And then shortly after that, he came to Mansfield, got a job at the tire, then got drafted into the Navy. Went to the Navy, got out of the Navy, came back to Kentucky. And then we moved back and forth from
Right.
Kentucky to Mansfield at least 3 times.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, Dad, because Dad was born in Mansfield General.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, he when he died, he left writings because he was starting to write a book,
Mhm.
like an autobiography, in his drawer. And I used to read those pages, and he
Mhm.
talked a lot about. Well, one of the things he talked about was you and Dad witnessing would have been Charles dying. When you were grandparents. It obviously wasn't James.
Oh, it was
Because apparently,
I'll tell you,
the
his
guy
name,
sat up.
his name will come to me. His name will come to me. Azariah,
Yes.
something like that.
Because something doesn't match
Now,
in terms
this
of
was,
the years.
you know where Junior lived? Remember
Yeah.
going to his place?
Yep.
All right.
Was it
If you can
Hezekiah?
picture this from the road, there was a nice home there at one time. Porch wrapped around, smokehouse in the back. Off to the left-hand side of that, if you looked at it from the road, was a woodshed and also the crapper. Okay, and of course I don't know how it didn't die of disease because everybody dumping the crapper, which was in the creek, was flowing into the big creek where we used to swim. We used to fight over the Sears catalog.
And that's
There's a
where
Glock-
that's where Grandma's Ashland oil claim was.
it's still there.
You're right.
Still
Yeah,
there.
'cause I stuck my head down in it.
It's still there, and I still get some notification from them every now and then that they're still pumping oil. Well, if you look at the house, around to the left, there was an unpainted clapboard shack. Very typical home that existed at that time, which had a huge fireplace in the middle. One room here, one room here. Both rooms had had two double beds in them. There was a loft upstairs with a very crude ladder that went up to it. People would sleep up there. And in the back was the kitchen. So you had a house that, little peak like this, came down, 2 rooms, and then on the back, there was a kitchen that came down and they had a roof, almost like an attachment sloped off. And of course, that provided a lot of the heat for the place when they would cook meals other than the fireplace. Don and I spent the night there with our great great grandfather. Okay, and I can remember waking up in the morning, and these
You got to
tools,
see your great great grandfather?
yeah, and these
It's
tools,
like Israel or something.
it's
There's
a
Inman,
crazy
Israel,
name.
Hezekiah.
There's an yeah.
I've
There's a
got it
Hezekiah.
upstairs. But I can
There's
remember
Jebediah,
waking up in the
Hezekiah.
morning, and they were tying a white rag around his head. It looked like rabbit ears sticking up
Right.
to keep his jaw closed and putting pennies on his eyes.
Right. Yeah, the pennies, because that's in the writing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
So this is
James,
your great great grandfather.
It's my great great grandfather. His
James
last
is
name was
your-
Cottle.
James is your grandpa. Charles is your great. This is Charles.
This isn't
dad.
Charles.
This is Charles's father.
This would actually be.
Charles's father's father.
I'm, not
That's
sure.
like Israel and Inman.
I'm really not sure. I'm
Yeah.
really not sure, to be honest with you. But I do remember them telling us to go over to the big house and tell them that Grandpa was dead.
Right. And see, this makes sense because because there were some I had always assumed that this was Charles.
Mhm.
Okay,
No, it's not.
but
Charles.
I knew it wasn't Charles. It couldn't have been Charles because
It's
the
a
year
real
that
funny
Charles
name. Funny
died.
sounding name.
Because the years,
I remember the funeral and everything.
because when Charles died, you guys couldn't have been there. I
No.
can't remember what the.
I cannot remember the name, but I've got it upstairs. Hezekiah or Azariah or something.
Well, Hezekiah is a family name.
It could have been. It was probably Israel or Inman. One of the two would be my guess.
I'm not sure. But I do know that there was a path that came down from that house to the creek. And there was another path that came up to the big house. And I remember going down the path, going over, and I didn't know a hell anything about death. It was no big deal. I skipped into the kitchen and told him, hey, Grandpa's dead. Hey,
That guy would have been old. That guy would have been old.
He was very old, bald-headed. And I remember your step-grandfather building his coffin.
Oh really?
Oh, yeah.
On Grandma's side.
On Grandma's side, building his coffin, wooden coffin. They lined it with satin, white satin, which your grandmother kept for years. She had swaths of that.
Oh really?
And had the inside of the lid and the inside of the sides of the coffin were lined with a gray velveteen type stuff. Hill there. You've been to that cemetery.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a hell of a
That's
walk.
where Arnold's buried. So
I was kind of sad, that he died, and and I didn't know it. I mean, not that I should have known
Mhm.
it because I wasn't connected to him in any significant way. But I went down there and met him. I'd actually met him at Grandpa's funeral because Dad introduced me to him.
Mhm.
But I went down there and had this. I spent like an hour or two at his house, and he died. And
he was a good man.
he was a
Last
nice guy.
time I was down there with him, he took us back in and showed us this Paintsville Lake, the back side of Paintsville Lake, which you can access by going up this rutted dirt road And I drove my car up there, and I don't know why the hell I ever did it. But I drove my car up there, and we went over to the back side of this lake. But no, I can remember going down and visiting your not
That's-
your grandmother's parents, but your grandfather's parents.
What's that?
What was on Frank's arm?
My dad's parents. And driving the car in
What's
rutted
that?
roads, parking out on somewhere off the road, either going by horseback,
It was a bump.
wagon, or
Something off
sled
his arm.
up a
It moved?
creek into a hollow where you go to bed at night and you listen to the bobcats scream, and the bears are still running,
Maybe he got like
and there were
round.
copperheads and rattlesnakes all over everywhere.
Yeah.
And no refrigerator. All the food, the perishables, milk and butter were kept in a
I
spring,
just remember that. That's all.
Spring house.
which not even a spring house, just a spring.
Just wedged into
I
the
mean,
spring
just
wall.
a water hole
Elbow
out in the middle of a cliff, and you walk out there, and they'd have the milk perhaps sitting down in the bottom of that, tied with a rope so that it wouldn't slip on
Don't make
down.
me laugh. Sheldon.
Butter was sitting there, that kind of
I
stuff.
really swear I don't even know what you're talking about. Like I didn't see it or
And
recognize it.
the house usually sat on a creek. You'd sit out there
I
at
guess I was
night, and
obsessed
my
with
grandfather chewed tobacco, and I can remember him sitting out there and spitting those
Yeah.
pieces of tobacco. And
Isn't he
he
like
was so
a
good, he
flag
actually
for
spit
the
between his
young
big toe and his
ones,
little
right?
toe and this, and
That's
go
what I
between.
was all like.
Now, my
okay.
dad said that some uncle died from when Dad caught me chewing.
We were all first.
He said, "Your uncle died from this." Who was he talking about?
Well, he told us to get there at that
Shit,
time.
I don't
This
know.
shit killed your
And we had to
uncle.
leave. So it
Who
wasn't
was he
like-
talking about?
I have no idea. Probably just putting you on.
Whatever, I still like Karen.
But your grandfather
surprising.
your
Not that I
grandfather
dislike
chewed apple
anybody
plug.
else, I
That was
just-
great.
Yeah.
Karen talks
You know, there's nothing
so-
on. I
I
quit.
know.
Like
Orville?
to see how Eric's doing.
No, not Orville, but his great grandfather chewed apple plug.
Linda and Carl's kid?
And I can remember it was a compressed plug of
The
tobacco,
blonde kid.
Oh,
Cured
Linda
with
and
apple.
a
Carl
square
had
about like
Krista,
so,
right?
apple cured with apple. But he cut a big chunk of it off.
Eric and Laura.
Plug was great because Plug would
Yeah,
juice
Laura
up.
was
Oh,
all
yeah.
pissed off.
Juice up good.
She's in her punk phase.
I
Yeah,
tried
she
chewing
was
just
so
once, man. That was
irritated.
enough.
You know, it
Jeff's
sold
trying
me.
to, like, make conversation. But
But I do remember going to bed at
I don't
night
know.
out there,
Yuck.
and
Stuff.
I've
They have
slept in a
hillbillies?
variety of beds. I've slept
Like
in
who?
You know?
feather
Well, you
feather
probably never
tickings.
heard of 'em.
They made their own mattresses.
Okay.
One of the things, such things as
Like
store-bought
who?
mattresses.
Blink 182.
Made their own mattresses, feather tickings,
No,
Or
she
or a
said
corn shock
Blink
bed.
182. He's
You know, where they peel the shucks off the
"We
corn.
heard of Blink 182."
They would take the
Yeah,
the
but she had a
stubble
couple
off and
things,
just
huh?
leave the leaves, and they would make beds out of those.
Give her
Yeah.
a kick, son.
And of course, you go to bed at night. And I can remember going to bed at your
Oh my
grandmother's
gosh, I
place
came
on
in the other
your
day.
Like the book.
I
your
was like,
grandmother's
"Jeff,
side of the family.
Peter Chris just turned 60.
Go in there, put my head down on the pillow, and look
He
up on the
was
hill,
like,
and there's the
"What?"
graveyard looking right at me.
Yeah.
I said, oh shit, I can't go to sleep here.
No wonder you guys were so spooked. When you
Oh
were-
man,
Yeah, you better
I
watch
can't go to
this
sleep
guy.
here.
They can't
Any
tour
miners in the
anymore.
family?
They're not touring
yes,
anymore, I heard.
my
Paul Stanley
grandfather
is
was a
getting-
miner.
he's getting
He had
his
black
second
lung.
Your dad's
hip
dad?
replacement.
My dad's dad, and my
James.
father
They
was a
will tour
miner
when they're in their deathbeds and they come
early
out.
on in his
The
life.
doctor said, no, you're not.
Yeah, in his
allowed
early
to
years,
tour
he was a
anymore."
miner,
Alright, it's too loud here.
and I like mine.
Who gave me a Brillo pad?
Dad actually picked them out with you in mind. I think that your housekeeping skills are lacking in his
You
retirement.
might like it.
You can put it to use in about 5 minutes and clean that pan I asked you to.
That's right. I know what I'm doing.
Please don't point that thing at me.
Thank you, Mom, for being. Wolf will allow me to film him for hours at a time.
I'm saving those. Feeling those.
Oh, yeah.
A Brillo pad.
What size feet do you have, Michael? Let me just show your feet. Michael's new slippers from the dollar store.
Yeah, it's perfect. If they're size 11s, they usually wear 9s or 10s.
That's
Those are large. You want to break the strings so you can put them on, or whatever you want.
No, that's it.
Daddy from your female child.
Dad's too enraptured in what he's doing. What do you have right there, Dad?
This is stuff that was in the box.
Yeah, no. What is it you're opening? Oh, you don't know.
I figure that'll keep you busy keep you for a while.
Yeah, fine.
What's in there?
Alright, what I work at me.
So
Here, Mother.
where'd this box belong to your dad?
Yeah, it belongs to Dad.
To Grandpa
It was
Orville?
out at the house on Oak Street.
What he used to keep in it? Any? Do you know?
Junk.
Junk.
It's a castle.
Did he collect junk too, Dad?
Yeah, a little bit. Wow, look at these.
What are they?
This is a punch. These are some of the old punches that Dad had. Chisels
I think this is shit.
that were in there.
Dad, this box is empty. It represents your picture, the one you already got.
Oh,
There's a $50 gift certificate in here from Gary, to you and me from Gary Liz,
Ah,
from Main Street Books.
nice.
Main Street Book, you were just there.
Mother, it's Janet.
Who's Janet?
Wonder Gold.
Hello,
Holy Moses White Ale.
same to you. Thank you for your gifts. Did you get my package?
Nanny, you're holding the phone upside down.
Did you get it?
You got the phone upside down, Mother. You got the phone upside down.
Here.
Oh, I got,
You turn it the other way, you can hear
I
better.
had it upside down. Yes,
Captured on tape forever.
Burning River.
yeah.
I think Burning River's a little too evocative of environmental damage, though.
That's named after the Cuyahoga River.
Uh-huh.
It caught on fire. Elliot Ness.
Oh, uh-huh.
So you can
Yes,
you can
I
test
did
each one and
something
decide
like
which
that.
you like the
Thank
best.
you very much for everything.
One at a time.
And again.
Merry Christmas.
And what year is it?
The year of the rat.
2000, shut the hell up.
2005. Soon to be 2006.
So what kind of year has it been?
Compared to what?
Well,
It's had its good points and its bad
Go to
points.
the years when your birds don't die.
that
Yep.
would be the not so actively controlled range of weather.
Did you like your pictures?
I love my pictures here. Let me see them. Hold them up.
I don't think this one is yours. I don't know. Is it?
Yeah,
That one's yours?
you gave me two, didn't you?
I gave you two.
Yeah, that and the cute one of.
Of course, I can print the one of
Did you scan them?
you and Michael are just simply scanned pictures. These are done on my good machine. I have two photo machines now.
Two photo machines.
Yep.
Where?
Well, one's packed away. That's what I print the digital shots from. The ones that I scan are done on that machine that's upstairs hooked up to the computer.
I'm gonna get you a thing to do.
Yeah. It doesn't have speaker. This controls volume. Closer you get. And then this is the pitch. And you can adjust the pitch of the whole thing here, and I haven't figured out what these are for. Remember, if you're anywhere near this, it's gonna be off. That adjusts the volume. This I came with this thing, but I'm not sure what it's for. It looks like a cleaning utensil or something. I don't know
Well,
what you clean with it.
is it on here?
No.
I'm not sure. That's what they did like with, a lot of like the early 50s science fiction stuff with. Jimmy Page once played one on stage. Basically, this the closer you get to this, the softer it is. The closer you get to this, the higher the pitch. So you can stay back here.
We're gonna eat right away.
We're very happy he has it. You can come down to the house anytime you want. And then Wolf wants to. Wolf's realizing he's not quite as deaf as he had hoped.
Thank you, dear. Hi. That's what it is. Oh, man.
Unless you can play Jingle Bells on it, then you're.
That's the coolest thing I've ever.
Fantastic on the pass rush, and that's why he was drafted, and the Jets drafted him. And he played, I think, 2 or 3, maybe 4 years with the Jets. And then the Eagles picked him up, and he was with the Eagles for 5. Then he went to Jacksonville
Yeah.
for a year, and then came back to the Eagles for a year.
So he was on those Eagles teams that the past 4 years that they've won though.
Right.
And he got cut, basically got cut this past year. He couldn't down a solder drive.
So he still works for the
Eagles.
He works for the Eagles, he's their PR.
What's the
manager.
flashing red light mean?
He's recording.
But he's an interesting guy. He still
Spends a lot
sponsors
of time on
a,
that piece of equipment.
football camp here.
Okay.
Provides all the participants with a T-shirt and a gym bag, a Nike gym bag, which I have 3 or 4 upstairs. If anybody needs a Nike gym bag, let me know. Some of them are brand new, have never been
Can you
used.
fill them with t-shirts?
Could say no.
I hate my gym bag, the one that I have now.
Check it
I'm
out.
giving away gym bags.
You want a Nike gym bag?
Give it to him.
I'll
Did you
go
say
get
you
you
hate
one.
your gym
The
bag?
one yeah, it's terrible.
Dang, Chris.
Let me go upstairs and see if I can find you one.
Why do you hate your gym bag?
That got me these
I don't like
fancy
it has a
shoes,
buckle.
slippers, and I
It
spilled
has a
orange
buckle on the top. Whenever I open it, the buckle's so heavy. The
Oh, it flips it over.
well, yeah, well, it flips it over. It won't flip up. It's just irritating.
These are nice bags. They zip on. They have zipper pieces on the end and that kind of stuff.
Probably a pair
I'll go up,
here.
I think I got 2 of them. Well, that's the only way to travel. Shaving the steam room.
My
is
gym's
great.
kind of gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta come to
A
the
rock
shop,
and
man.
steam
A
room?
Rocky
Oh yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, you rascal.
It's an
All
old.
the
It's
time.
downtown. It's an old.
But
I
the
keep
one that
telling
they
them
just
that's
built by
disgusting.
us.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, but I don't.
I always spray down. You know,
Where do you put your
Flip-flops.
whiskers?
spray them down the drain.
Okay. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Steam room. I'm thinking of the hot dry sauna.
No.
I took a shower a couple weeks ago and I was like, what's that on my foot? And I looked down and I stepped on a Band-Aid.
Too, I gotta stop moving it.
It's me and Pops. What's Dad had to say?
Hey, what can I say?
What I say,
I'm here. Family's home. It's all I need. What
guess.
it's all about. Okay. Where's my plate to put my turkey on?
Right here. Michael, pass that to Pops.
Alright, put this here. Down. So I can help.
Someday this will be the only directions I have on how to cook a turkey like my mom. 'cause I
We were
didn't
just
pay
talking
attention.
about that earlier. The fact that you were asleep.
I'm just like a guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I slept so well on the couch.
You were exhausted.
I had a couple dreams.
All right. Oh, Michael, Dad needs those plates to put the turkey on.
I got the turkey.
Oh, actually, okay. Let's do it this. Let's do something different this time.
Or capture an action moment.
No,
Wait, are we changing something?
Hey,
changing.
Michael.
Ooh, I'm here.
What?
I'm here capturing a
My
change
son.
in the eternal pattern.
Right.
Pooch awaits a dropping that will never happen.
Oh, no. Go.
Hey, 14-year-old boy.
Dog.
Uffy.
Went over to Ziegler's this afternoon. Spent a little time with Doug. Had a couple
Doug, serve Mother some meat.
Michael?
Yes.
Serve that off there, please. I'm cutting.
There. You have something I can serve it with?
Take your
Well, they
fork.
have a
Here, I got it.
slice of
Never
that
mind.
too.
Alright.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
That's fine.
Yep.
Cliff, I want you to build an ark.
Oh, I know what we forgot. Mother's plate. Doug,
Yeah.
just FYI next time, we don't put all the sweet potatoes out at once.
Well, you didn't tell me that.
I know.
I only do
Whose
what I'm
plate
asked
is
to
this?
do.
Yours.
Doesn't look like my
Help,
plate.
help yourself, bud.
It's not
Alright.
appropriately designed.